5 days into summer now, and much of the eastern U.S. is in a heat wave, but it's even hotter in Europe. Today, Germany and Poland recorded their highest ever temperatures for June, and France could hit an all-time record high this week. Roxana Saberi is there.
As the sun beats down on Paris, it's baking everyone who dares to defy it.
Because it's like a sauna. You walk out and you're just dripping.
Temperatures here hit the 90s today, and in parts of the country they soared above 100. France is still haunted by a heat wave that struck in 2003, leading to the deaths of an estimated 15,000 people. Officials say this time they're prepared. They're checking on the elderly, handing out free water, and setting aside hundreds of places in Paris where people can escape the heat. While people here in Paris are finding ways like this to cool off, it's not just France that's getting hit by a heat wave this week, it's also much of the rest of Europe. In Spain, authorities issued heat warnings for several parts of the country. And in Poland, the Czech Republic, and Germany, temperatures topped 100.
Rats crawling through the streets of Los Angeles, feasting on piles of uncollected trash. Now, the I-Team exposed a problem recently, and the city vowed to clean it up. But we found evidence the city's rodent population is growing, pushing those rats and possibly disease closer to homes and businesses. Investigative reporter Joel Grover pressed the mayor to explain why LA has no formal rat control program.
Rats raced across Ceres Avenue near downtown, competing for food. What's most remarkable is that we saw this army of rats the week after the city cleared away mountains of trash.
We're putting resources,
with the mayor declaring this once filthy street all cleaned up.
This is a juvenile.
But these two rodent experts say LA's rat problem is out of control.
I've never seen this many droppings, ever.
That's Neve Quinn of the University of California and Sylvia Kenmuir, who advises the city of New York how to control its rats.
I had no idea it was this bad.
Bad not just...
It's a mystery along the Pacific coast. Gray whales are dying in large numbers. At least 167 have washed ashore from Mexico to Alaska since January 1st. Experts say that's probably just a fraction of those that have actually died. Here again is Jonathan Vigliotti.
Beaches along the West Coast are looking more like crime scenes as investigators examine bodies that have washed ashore. They're trying to solve a marine mystery. Why are so many gray whales dying?
It looks like it's on track to reach or exceed the most we've ever seen in a previous year.
So far this year, at least 167 dead gray whales have washed up on shorelines from Mexico to Alaska. And it's believed hundreds more could be dead in the ocean.
One of the most common features we're seeing is that the whales are extremely emaciated, malnourished.
Most of them travel from Baja, Mexico to their main feeding grounds in the Arctic and then back. It's one of the longest mammal migrations on Earth.
We're on a kind of ocean highway for all sorts of marine life. Right now we're watching humpback whales feed, a mother and her calf. Earlier we saw a super herd of dolphins. Gray whales have thousands of more miles to travel before they reach their main food source.
Unlike most whales, grays eat tiny creatures on the ocean floor.
Anytime a group of large animals are all showing the same stressed nutritional condition, it means that there's something wrong with their food.
We really want to evaluate, are there changes in the environment that are causing this? The Arctic ecosystem has been changing dramatically with climate change, with less and less ice cover.
Experts say more competition for food and contaminated water could also be factors for the rising death toll.
If you've got gray whales that are dying because something's wrong in the ocean, it means other animals in the ocean are going to die too.
Jonathan Vigliotti, CBS News, Monterey, California.
Yassine Brun has been fishing for 40 years along the Tunisian coastal town of Ghar El Melh. And while the traditional method of catching fish hasn't changed for generations, the climate has. Yassine says the effects of global warming are evident in these waters.
There's now 80% less fish than before. We now live day to day. We catch a pitiful 1 to 2 kilos of fish, then head home, with nothing else to do. We have no other source of income.
2/3 of Tunisia.
In the shadow of the West LA skyline, tucked under the 405 at Venice Boulevard, is a stretch of sidewalk some 40 people call home. At least once a week, the LAPD orders them out, blocks off the area, and an army of sanitation workers moves in, picking up used needles, bottles of urine, and mountains of garbage. They sanitize the sidewalk and then leave. But within minutes, people are back, rebuilding their life under the 405. The sidewalk is again littered with the
residents in Ridgecrest assessing the damage after Friday's powerful 7.1 quake.
It's very devastating to see all of it.
Many still rattled and on edge as the aftershocks keep coming.
We don't know whether it's going to be a big one after it, so when one comes, we try to get closer to the table. If a big one comes, we know to go duck under.
Many homes remain unlivable as business owners attempt to clean up. Be careful of the snow, guys. The violent shaking causing a huge mess at grocery stores, tossing merchandise from shelves for the second time in 2 days.
We felt around 10 or 11 aftershocks. And each one, you know, they're still scary because
shaking offices, broken glass, cracked roads, and house fires.
Oh my God, those are the tires blowing up on the cars.
Thursday's 6.4 earthquake initially had residents wondering, is this the big one California has been bracing for?
It's the biggest one I felt.
Experts say no.
This earthquake does not make the big one any more likely or any less likely.
The big one is the monster earthquake experts say is due to hit Southern California. Its potential impact seen here in this simulation of a 7.8 magnitude quake from the Southern California Earthquake Center. That's an earthquake 125 times stronger than this July 4th quake and 44 times stronger than the infamous Northridge quake that hit near LA in '94. That quake killed 57 and cost $49 billion in...
We're going to turn now to the fallout from those earthquakes that shook Southern California this weekend. Two major quakes, thousands of aftershocks have the region on edge. And Marcus Moore is in Ridgecrest, California with the latest. Good morning, Marcus.
George, good morning. We are feeling aftershocks this morning as residents here recover from back-to-back earthquakes, including some who are having to start over. The family who lived in this house, it burned in the aftermath of Friday's earthquake.
This morning, California is a state on edge, hit by the strongest earthquakes in 20 years, sparking fires, causing thousands to lose power, and creating uncertainty in businesses and homes across the Golden State.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
And with thousands of aftershocks rattling the region over the weekend, many now wondering, is the worst yet to come?
Cars and motorbikes buried in mud after rivers quickly rose above their danger levels and burst their banks. Streets have been flooded, the water flowing into homes. Since Thursday, it's been raining steadily across Nepal, triggering flash floods and landslides. Hundreds of people have been evacuated from their homes, and rescuers have been searching for those reported missing. Emergency services have also recovered some bodies. In Mulbani, on the outskirts of the capital Kathmandu, the heavy rains brought one wall crashing down, crushing a section of a hut.
The wall suddenly crumbled. We thought it was an earthquake. By the time we came out, the house was broken.
20 members of one family were asleep at the time. 3 of them died.
2 women, one of them pregnant, and a child were sleeping in this little cottage over here when this wall came crumbling down, crushing the entire cottage. Most of the people who have been living here are construction workers.